Alrighty, hi there guys. So our group is going to be presenting on TV and computers' impact on child development. So to start off, we're going to be talking about some of the benefits of technology with child development. So I found this neat little quote. It says, technology can enhance learning by engaging children in problem solving, teamwork, decision making, and the development of fine motor skills and coordination. So I thought this was really cool because it talks about how technology can aid in cognitive, social, and physical development for children. And so there's a couple different tools that I was just kind of thought about while preparing this slide. There's online learning games, which will help with that teamwork, but that's more for older children. And then tablet and phone applications. It's amazing what these kids can do. It helps with their fine motor skills there and different problem solving because they're playing games, but they can also be educational. And lastly, TV programs. So TV programs I actually find really interesting because, moving on to the next one, so I was a nanny this summer for 2 kids, and the parents, they wanted me to work with the kids first so that they could learn how to speak Spanish. And so this TV programming for both babies and toddlers, it's actually really influential. It really works. So I used to play just 20 minutes of these different programs in Spanish for the kids, and it was amazing what they picked up on. And so the book actually has this quote. It said, "Still, while new language learning in adulthood is possible, it is not easy. Early childhood is a sensitive period for language learning, for rapidly mastering vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. Young children are language sponges. They soak up every verbal drop they encounter." And so I found a little video that's pretty cool because this kid, he is, I want to say it, 3 years old, but his mom started working with him when he was about 6 months old to learn different languages. And now he actually knows and is fluent in 4 languages. And for the video, she says she has different babysitters that speak different languages, but for us other people that don't have that access, there is TV programming that can help to teach these kids. And so we'll start this.
Hola, bonjour, konnichiwa. I don't know any of those languages.
My name is Rhonda Ross, and my 3.5-year-old son, Raif Henak, is speaking and reading in 4 languages.
Los números.
Los números?
He has a babysitter that comes 3 afternoons a week.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It speaks to him only in Spanish.
长方形。
长方形是谁?
And he also has a Chinese babysitter that comes a couple times a week, speaks to him only in Mandarin. In addition to that, he does a preschool program 5 mornings a week that is immersion Mandarin. He doesn't confuse the languages. He doesn't mix the languages. It's worked very, very well for us.
这是太阳。
太阳，然后2点。
I continued doing this with Raif because I saw that it was benefiting him. I saw him enjoying it. If I had ever seen him not enjoying it, I would have made a different choice.
Alrighty, so I really thought that video was pretty cool because it just goes to show that kids, I mean, like the quote says, young children are language sponges. They soak up everything. And so we have technology today that is meant to help kids in their development, and especially learning languages. Kids learn languages so much easier and so much quicker than adults do. And then also, there's benefits of technology for school achievement. So a couple different things that I thought about and that I had seen through my research was that technology provides easy access to information and then improved research abilities. So we're no longer limited to just what's in our school libraries or just on the school database. There's just an infinite number of different articles and things that we have access to because of technology. Also, I know a lot of schools, they do standardized testing through computers, which there's pros and cons to that, but it does allow for just testing to see where the children are at in their education. Next, the technology draws children's attention and makes learning fun. So kids nowadays, they are always using technology, even since they were really little. And so when you bring that into a classroom, there's different games and different activities that can be done to kind of capture their attention. I remember when I was growing up, we always used smart boards, and it was a big new thing, and it made learning fun. And then finally, it also facilitates online collaboration so that children of any age, they can go online and they can collaborate with people from all over the world, from different cultures and anything, and that just broadens their horizons. So finally, there was a little article that I found that talks about benefits of computers in the classroom. And so it talks about how in the last few years, there's schools all across the country that have been implementing this program where they provide laptops for each individual child in the classroom. And so Michigan State University did a study about these programs to see if it was actually beneficial for academic performance. And so the results of this, they said that it showed that having laptops in the classroom promoted better organization, improved the review process, so how teachers edited and replied to students' their assignments, and then it improved students' computer skills and made learning more interesting. And I think it's really important to this part about improving students' computer skills, because today so many jobs require that you have at least a basic understanding of computers. But so it shows that they were beneficial overall in the classroom, and not just for academics, but also for just these life skills.
Oh, perfect. So Michaela just talked about all of like the wonderful benefits that we have because of technology. So I'm going to talk a second about the dangers in technology. And I don't mean to be like a Debbie Downer about some of these topics, but with good, there's always bad. And so I kind of want to talk about that for a second. I think a lot of people are black and white when they see the dangers and the benefits of technology. When they think about kids watching TV, they think about kids sitting on the couch eating junk food and that's all they do, or they think about all of these great learning opportunities in the classroom. When in reality, there's obviously both that are taking place. So TV viewing can have an impact on our physical health. There's been lots of studies done about like nutritional values of foods that you're eating while you're watching TV. Everybody loves like munching. And so that truly does have an impact, as well as video games as well. It causes like aggression and violence. So those are just two of like the physical aspect of the dangers. But I want to talk about some of like the mental aspects of the dangers of technology as well. Good. Okay. So a lot of people think that the dangers of technology simply come from allowing their child or students to view technology in any form. And that's not correct. As we just learned, there's tons of benefits that come from viewing technology. So it all has to do with like the quality and not necessarily the quantity of technology that we're viewing. As like the video that we just saw said, like that kid was able to learn so many different languages, partly because of technology. And I think that that's incredible. And so if his parents putting him in front of videos all day long, learning about different languages, that's not going to be something that's bad for him, obviously. So TV watching doesn't start affecting IQ levels in children. And that's 3 years old and above until they've watched at least 30 hours a week, which is quite a lot for any young kid to be watching. So I don't think a whole lot of kids are actually getting that much time in front of the TV. Okay, so some of the actual dangers related to technology. And like I said, I kind of wanted to take more of like a mental, like brain aspect of this versus the physical. And that's because like, I feel like with every progressing year, like the topic of like anxiety and depression and things like that just becomes much more like popular and much more common to talk about. And I really do think that the increase of technology has something to do with that. So the first thing is addiction, and that's when technology begins to take over other life priorities. And And so if we as adults or even kids are sitting there on our phones and not getting up and doing our life priorities, our life responsibilities that we need to be doing, then technology has become an addiction to us. The next one is cyber danger or cyberbullying. We see a lot of this as kids are more in like the adolescent age, but I even see it in adulthood. People are very quick to be rude and bully each other on all over social media, people they don't even know, but they just feel the need to be rude to. So cyberbullying is when electronic devices are used to harass someone with rumors, lies, embarrassing truths, or threats. The next danger related to technology is sexting. Again, we see that mostly like adolescent and up. I don't think there's really a huge issue with that in early childhood, obviously. But that is sending sexual content, particularly photos or videos, over social media, cell phones, all of that stuff. And then the last is pornography, and that's just printed or visual material that is inappropriate. And that kids are starting to see at like a younger and younger rate, and it truly is affecting our kids. And so it is incredibly important to be careful as we are in the lives of children, to be an example and showing them how to properly use technology so that we're getting those benefits from it and not the dangers related to it. Okay, so there's a video by Elder Bednar, and he talks about 2 different specific things that we can do when it comes to our technology use. So I just invite everybody as you're watching this video to just hear out those 2 things and think about how either you can do better or how you can help other people better.
We live at a time when technology can be used to replicate reality, to augment reality, and to create virtual reality. Today, I raise an apostolic voice of warning about the potentially stifling, suffocating, suppressing, and constraining impact of some kinds of cyberspace interactions and experiences upon our souls, such as experimenting with actions contrary to God's commandments, or enticing us to think or do things we would not otherwise think or do because it's only a game. The concerns I raise are not new. They apply equally to other types of media, such as television, movies, and music. Sadly, some young men and women in the church today ignore things as they really are. A young man or woman may waste countless hours, postpone or forfeit vocational or academic achievement, and ultimately sacrifice cherished human relationships because of digital distractions, diversions, and detours that have no lasting value. Please understand, I am not suggesting all technology is inherently bad. It is not. Nor am I saying we should not use its many capabilities in appropriate ways to learn, to communicate, to lift and brighten lives, and to build the church. Now for 2 questions for consideration, personal pondering, and prayerful study. Question number 1. Does the use of various technologies and media invite or impede the constant companionship of the Holy Ghost in your life? Question number 2. Does the time you spend using various technologies and media enlarge or restrict your capacity to live, to love, and to serve in meaningful ways? I testify that God lives and is our Heavenly Father. He is the author of the plan of salvation. Jesus is the Christ, the Redeemer whose body was bruised, broken, and torn for us as he offered the atoning sacrifice. He is resurrected. He lives and he stands at the head of his church in these latter days. My beloved brothers and sisters, to be encircled about eternally in the arms of his love will be a real and not a virtual experience.
Okay, perfect. So my invitation to y'all is just to look at those two questions that he asked about our technology use, and just to remember that we are examples to all those around us. We impact the lives of kids, family members, friends, and even ourselves when it comes to our use in technology.
So yeah, the world, we know the world in which we live today is a technological place. Constant messages and data can cause a sensory overload even among adults. This is a good reason to think about how technology is affecting the development and growth of our children. Recommendations on when we should expose our children to the different types of technology vary, as does the conflicting evidence. It's important to help parents, teachers, and educators identify good practices in the use of technology. In addition to these good practices, I've also included the newest guidelines I could find from the American Academy of Pediatrics on how much screen time is appropriate for children. One study observes that play with electronic toys is associated with decreased quantity and quality of language input compared with play with books or traditional toys. To promote early language development, play with electronic toys should be encouraged. Even though screen time isn't recommended for children under 18 months of age, there are some technological milestones that for toddlers to aim for. The AARP does make one exception for video calls. I'm sorry, I said AAP, the American Academy of Pediatrics. Video chatting with friends and relatives is recognized as quality time interacting with others. Toddlers aren't ready to use apps on their own, but with help from adults, they can be introduced to the idea of sharing, taking turns, using technology to encourage movement and gross motor skills. Digital media and technology are now more ingrained in the education system than ever before, and children are exposed to digital content at increasingly younger ages. While it has become necessary in the classroom at all age levels, there are special considerations when we can apply in early childhood. So I have a list of things that we can do, and the first one says it should be educationally effective. Along with being enjoyable, it should encourage creativity, self-expression, and imaginative role play. 2, it should encourage collaboration, meaning problem solving, taking turns, and learning the joy of sharing. Activities requiring joint attention and which involve children learning to share provide a better cognitive challenge for young children than activities where they work alone. 3, it should integrate with other aspects of curriculum in play and project work when possible. 4, it should ensure the child is in control. An example of this play is when children build blocks. They decide what to build, how to build, and when the creation is completed. But apps, on the other hand, often dictate what tasks should be carried out, how it should be done, and when it should be finished. 5, the application should be transparent, meaning the functions are clear and intuitive, like drag and drop style games. 6, it should avoid applications with violence or stereotyping. And 7, parents and educators should be aware of health and safety issues and concerns about extended use. It's estimated that children ages 8 to 18 spend an average of 7 hours a day behind screens, playing video games and more. Teens send an average of 3,417 text messages each month, and 97% of adolescents have at least one electronic device in their bedrooms. What's just as scary as how much time kids spend on screens is the effect it can have on their health. Their backs and wrists are sore, their sleep is disrupted, and their attention spans are diminished. While it would be impossible to rid your kids' lives of technology completely, you wouldn't want to because of the many joys and benefits. Parents can take a few measures to help prevent its negative and mental, physical effects. The Mayo Clinic recommends that parents be conscientious of ergonomics when their kids are at computers. It should be a desk with a keyboard at hand level, and there should be supported backrests, and kids should try to maintain an upright position. We need to get our kids moving, so they should get at least 1 hour a day of moderate to vigorous physical exercise at least 3 times a week to strengthen and develop muscles. We can limit game time, but we can also help our children to teaching them about exercises for tendinitis. And for screen time, the American Academy of Ophthalmology recommends that a computer user shift his focus away from a screen every 20 minutes and take 20 seconds to look at something that is at least 20 feet away. This gets you blinking again and restores moisture to the eye. The National Sleep Foundation recommends that teenagers get 9.25 hours of sleep each night. So it's important that we discuss a nighttime plan with your kids. Some suggestions would be to either turn your phones off after 11 p.m. or require them to charge in another room overnight. We know too that physical effects are not the only thing parents and educators need to be aware of. So we have to equip our kids with the tools, knowledge, and resources to help them develop use their common sense on a daily basis when they're faced with negative digital dangers. Parents have to become more engaged in their child's digital lives. Monitoring is good, but it can also be a false sense of security. Having a sense of what activity children are involved in is a good thing. If your 12 to 14-year-old is on a computer for 3 to 4 hours on Facebook, then that's a waste of time. But if they're on a website searching for material for school, or listening to music, watching TV, or writing a blog, that's different. It's about getting children to engage in a range of activities, and that complicates the idea of monitoring time. We need to listen. We can listen to our teens, and that's imperative to learning about what they're doing online. And making time to communicate with children and finding out more about their interests can help you better understand where they are in their emotional lives. Another suggestion is to ask children to be your tech support, and with open lines of communication, and it will help build self-esteem. Children's brains today are different because the pathways in the brains have developed differently with the advances in technology and how children use that technology. While experts still grapple with the benefits and the harms, most agree that moderation is key. And as parents, one must look at one's own screen habits and remember that kids are watching. Kids do not need your undivided attention all day long, but they do in those real life moments of talking and reading. So moms and dads, it's time to walk away from the computer, put the phone down, and enjoy your kids face to face.